We're live, pal. Oh my god. Hi, hey, hello. Just kidding. I'm gonna definitely play the intro. Don't worry. Don't worry, guys. I'm playing the intro. I'm about to ban some people from the comments right off the bat.
Roman is the biggest bad guy character in professional wrestling.
When's the last time you got laid?
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Like, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Can we tell the truth about Dusty sooner or later?
Bro, less people wanted that than are currently watching our stream.
And you know Vince, and you still think, are these true? It's like...
Welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
It's like, I get it, I try to be an understanding guy. I try not to diminish anyone's accomplishments or anything. But like at the end of the day, I don't care how many, I don't care how many cameos you paid for from Michael Rappaport. I don't want to say when it was cool because I don't know if it was ever cool, but before it was a problem, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna hear it. I just don't care. I'm not gonna let these guys who haven't done shit on this podcast but have done shit in the entertainment industry tell me what to do. It's like James, Eric, like they just don't get it. Like Rev, at least he's a down to earth guy. He's a gambling addict, but he's a down to earth guy, and maybe he's addicted to other stuff, but he's down to earth guy. Chad's so chill, he's never here. Oh my god, hey. Oh, what's up, guys? Hey, oh, hi. Hey, hello. Welcome to a Mark It Down production, a mid-production, if you will. I'm here by myself talking about Raw because none of my fucking podcast mates ever want to join me, even though there's 8 of us. I'm always here by my lonesome. It's insane. But we'll talk about Monday Night Raw. It was a show. It was exciting in a lot of parts and boring in some others. We'll talk about it. Dev, what up? Welcome to the show. So what do you want to talk about? I don't know what I want to talk about. Even though I'm hosting the podcast, I haven't really thought about it too much or put my thoughts out into words too much. Was special. I'm just the only person who takes this shit seriously. Like I don't know if you know the other guys like James. He's a fucking goofball, doesn't take anything seriously. Eric, guy's never taken anything seriously in his life. Jordan, you don't even know who that is because he's not on the podcast, but he's a fucking goofball, doesn't take shit seriously either. For Wild Hunt Mania's next weekend, I'm excited because I'm going, so I'm excited. But who the fuck is logged into this YouTube account? I'm gonna put you in a timeout. Hold on. Word. I am the glue. I agree. Good point, Jay. But let's talk about Monday Night Raw. A lot of interesting stuff happened on Raw. We had Cody Rhodes, which, par for the course, but always nice. We had The Rock, not par for the course. You love to see it. You love to boo him. You love to have fun with where he is right now. And you had CM Punk in his hometown of Chicago. What could go wrong there? I'm sure nothing noteworthy happened on this show with all of those combustible elements. But what do you want to talk about? As you'll notice throughout the show, my tie is going to get looser and looser. It's a skinny tie. I went skinny tie. This isn't even a good shirt to wear a tie with, but I just wanted to wear a tie. That's why we're here. I might go Avril Lavigne style next week and just have a tie, but like a t-shirt on, but anyway, oh god, what do you guys want to talk about? Do you want to talk about The Rock? Do you want to talk about CM Punk? Like, there's actually, I know it's only 2 things, but like, there's a lot to talk about. Thank you, Jay. Skinny ties, let them slide. That's what everyone always says. God, Jay, you're an enigma, man. I didn't think you had strong opinions on ties and their thickness. That is great to know. That is great to know. You know what? Fuck The Rock. Fuck CM Punk. Do you want to talk about ties? Can we talk about ties? Let's have a good tie. I don't know. we'll start the show. I'll take a 2-second pause and then we'll actually talk about what happened on the show. This is like the preamble. We just say hi to everyone. All right, so Monday Night Raw opens with CM Punk. Nope, it doesn't. I'm just kidding. It opens with Cody Rhodes. But Cody Rhodes comes out, and I mean, it opens with CM Punk in a way because he arrives to the arena. But anyway, Cody Rhodes makes his entrance. Good pop. Small smidgen of booze. Nothing too noteworthy. I just feel like I don't want to ignore it. But an overwhelming pop. Crowd is singing this song. No one's booing him once the music stops. It's a great time. You love to see it. Cody cuts I don't want to say a standard Cody Rhodes promo because that makes it sound like a little diminishing, but it was a very good but typical Cody Rhodes promo. You even said he's like, what is there left to say at this point? We're 2 weeks after Mania. This is almost like he's borderline admitting this is filler and like this is just like the talking's done and we should be fighting, but we're not fighting yet. So what do we do now? Sort of thing. And he talks a little trash. He talks a little trash about The Rock and he talks about pointing at the sign, and he talks about a lot of things and he points at the sign. Who comes out to interrupt him? But The Rock himself. The Rock comes out and interrupts Cody Rhodes. The crowd goes wild. They pop massively for the entrance. Once the music dies, they boo the shit out of him, which is how you should approach this. It's exciting to see The Rock. We all love it. But you got it. Once the music stops, you got to boo the man. Otherwise, you're that stubborn fan that's not playing along. And you're the one that they should be ignoring. You're the actual crybaby in that situation. Raw was good tonight. It was exciting. I think Raw was really exciting, but when the ups weren't up, oh boy, did we hit some valleys. The peaks were very high. The valleys, I guess, weren't that low, but the valleys were very mid. But whatever, we'll talk about it somewhat. So The Rock comes out. He doesn't say a word on mic. He stares at Cody, whispers something to Cody. He tells him he's gonna, grab him by the tie, pull him in close, and just go to town on him. I assume. I don't know what he said. They didn't tell us what he said, so we can only assume. And that's fine. And he just stared at him for so long, and then finally left. And that was that. It was exciting. It was fun. Like everything The Rock does, it goes on for a little too long, but it's like The Rock, so we let it go. But it's like, bro, I get it. The stare down went on so long that the segment got CM Punk chants. That's how long this shit went on. It's insane. Hold on, I gotta address something. Clip-on tie. This is literally, there's the things right here. There's not a clip-on. I have clip-ons though, because clip-ons are great. They're so much. Ties are stupid. Okay, first of all, ties are stupid. But like clip-on ties are fine because they stay in place. Clip-on ties are smart man's tie. Anyway, but yeah, Rock goes on for too long. But it's fine because it's exciting. Like that's the thing is like we trade the like overstaying his welcome or overrunning his time for the excitement, and it's a fair trade. Can we suit up for the Mets game? Absolutely. Just for the occasion, and that's an occasion. We can dress up for that. But exciting stuff. Unfortunately, I don't have too much to say about it because it just was exciting for The Rock to come out, but there wasn't too much substance of it. But what we can talk a little bit more about, and we can just skip straight all the way to the end of the show. So after the main event of the show, which ended conspicuously with like 8 minutes left in the show, I wonder if that means something's going to happen. Cody Rhodes is backstage fighting off Jimmy and Solo. He beats Jimmy because Jimmy's a jobber and he's starting to beat up Solo. When who should come out of nowhere but The Rock? And he beats the shit out of Cody. And again, like I said before, God, does he do it for too long? And like, but it's fine because a prolonged beatdown is actually okay. That's a decent way to tell a story. God, even in a beatdown, Rock is talking shit, which is great. On paper, sounds amazing. But boy, does he repeat the ever loving shit out of himself. And also, I would have loved to hear the other half of this because every other line this guy said was censored out. So I didn't get to hear it because they don't beep things. Instead, they have no audio for a very long second, what feels like 5 seconds, and there's 1 second of silence. Instead of just putting a freaking beep in, the silence makes it so much worse. So I didn't understand half of what this guy said because it was just getting censored. But when he wasn't getting censored, he was saying the same things over and over again because that's what The Rock does. He repeats the ever loving shit out of himself, and then he comes out with a money line. That's The Rock's formula. It is say something, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, stall for time, money line. And it works because he's like the best over talking a microphone. But it's fairly being called into question now. It's fairly being called out now. It's fairly being critiqued now. You know, not everyone's loving the Rock shtick. I find myself in the middle where I love it 80% of the time, and I'll just the other percent where I'm like, bro, stop making the same points over and over again. And again, a little redundant on my part. I know I'm doing the same thing right now. I'm not going to say that I'm not. In fact, I'm being vague about it. So, like, I'm being just as bad as I'm claiming him to be. So I get it. Man, it's so much. It's so much. Yeah, I hate WWE cut sounds out. Yeah, it's the worst. So just put a beep in. I understand that the bleep makes it sound worse than it is, but having all the audio completely cut out for a second that feels like 5 seconds is so much worse because it just takes you out completely. Whereas a bleep will draw you in because you're like, what did he say? This complete cut of audio completely takes you out of it so much. It's literally like it's like you're watching a video and the video's buffering like every couple of seconds. You know, it's not good. So you know, that aside, this was an effective segment, and it really was added to by the fact that it was raining. Because I'm not the one in this group that works in the movie industry, you know, but a little tip: rain makes all scenes more dramatic. It just does. It's cliche and it's corny, but it works. And it was raining in Chicago, and they were in this parking lot, which was also elevated because I really thought Rock was going to throw him off and murder him because that's what it felt like at certain points. But instead, he just kept throwing him into Cody's bus, beating him with the belt, busting him open, throwing him into the truck over and over again. Because again, Rock repeats the ever loving shit of himself. Kept talking about Mama Rhodes and how he's gonna bloody up the belt and this and that. And it was good. It was an effective beatdown. The Rock getting physical. The Rock going full heel, really embracing that, getting gritty. I said this last week. I'll say it again this week. I'll say it next week. I'll say it in our WrestleMania predictions, and I'll say it in our WrestleMania review. This is better than what we were going to get. This is better than whatever bullshit we were going to get between Roman and Rock, where it was all about their stupid family that I don't care about as a unit. I care more about the individuals than the sum of their parts, you know? I care about the Rock. I don't care about them. But this is better. This heel Rock, whatever we're getting right now, is so much more enticing. All right, you can tell the Rock's having a good time. He's leaning into it. Granted, you know, I think there's something to the insecurities that he has there, that he feels the need to be loved. And, you know, the public eye was slipping away from The Rock, you know, after Shazam and a bunch of other failed movies and everything with the Fast and Furious franchise, whatever bullshit and that garbage movie franchise was going on. You know, The Rock has lost a lot of the favor, and he's still the biggest movie star in the world. But, you know, the biggest movie stars doesn't make good movies, and is starting to lose a little bit of that public favor. He's not The Rock from 8 years ago that could do no wrong. He's not The Rock that got a Baywatch comedy reboot, to be successful. So he, when in doubt, you run back to WWE because that's where you're a god and you can do no wrong there. Until now, The Rock can finally do wrong, and just because of that little bit of wrong, we're actually all prospering because of it. So, at the end of the day, I have no regrets booing Rock. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Would do again. We'll do at WrestleMania because it's fun and it's the right thing to do. And isn't that what it's all about? Having fun and doing the right thing. Two things that are actually not mutually exclusive sometimes. I don't know. Sounds pretty good to me. But what the fuck do I know? Who is that? Didn't I ban you? Cool. No one cares about Twitter. Twitter's not a real place. They're probably not even real people. If you are a real person, hi. But Twitter's the worst place in the world. Have opinions elsewhere. It's healthier. Stay off Twitter. But if you're gonna be on Twitter, watch us. The life lessons, I guess. What else happened on the show? Not. That's a good majority of it. I've blown through it because I didn't write notes, so I didn't write down specifics that I wanted to mention. But here we are. The Rock got physical. The Rock did something. He attacked Cody Rhodes. So one of the other things I really want to talk about, but we'll go through the show in order for now because it comes up not too long from now. But I'm gonna take a sip of water. So talk amongst yourselves. I just want to give you time to finish your conversations. Okay. Blah blah blah. Anyway. Oh my god. I have a cat meowing outside my door. Anyway. Hello, other person. You look different. It's because you're wearing a hat, I assume. You're muted, pal. Oof, this is going wild.
There we go.
Oh man, smooth transition. Anyway, so you're a hat guy now. I take it. That's the
I think we're wearing ties tonight, matching tie buddies.
Oh, that's true. Very nice. Very nice. I didn't even tell him to do that, so that's how professional this guy takes. Do you ever see James wear a tie? I don't think so.
Yeah, you know what it is? I shaved because I was sick and tired of people telling me I look like James. So that's really what it is.
That's a terrible thing to say to someone.
I'm joking. I actually shaved. I'm going to the Becky Lynch signing tomorrow, and I'm going to dress up as her. So no beard for that. But what were you saying? I feel like
you could have had a beard. Tell her I said hi.
Will do. I'll tell her the whole pod says hi.
No. Oh, no. All
right, just Skiboo says hi.
Just me. Just me. Okay, first of all, it's weird that you're going to that and I'm not, but second of all, I did order that book, so I should be getting it in the mail tomorrow. But have fun.
Nice.
It should be an interesting time. But anyway, did you have any thoughts on the Rock on this show?
More so at the tail end. So
well, I already said what happened at the tail end. So you can
I think it's in my description. I think it was cool. It was funny when he brought him outside. The first thing I noticed was the whiskey that's on the back of Cody's truck, and I'm like, that probably just pissed off the Rock. He probably wishes it was an advertisement for his tequila. So that kind of made me that tickled my fancy. And then it was just it was good. But at the same time, they were so close to that edge. And they even showed partially the edge, how far down that ramp went.
Yeah,
and
I was saying that, yeah.
It would have been amazing if he tossed them over. It would have been 10 times better than when Kane tossed off, Zack Ryder off the the platform, or it would have been on the level of, Shane McMahon falling from the scaffolding. a bunch of different falling off scenarios come to mind. And obviously they would have had to have a crash pad and everything, make it safe. But to me, it was distracting to keep showing that, but then just having him keep hitting him against the bus, which I don't know, have him like break through a glass window or something,
Yeah, I was with you. You should have thrown him over the edge. Just fucking, dude, attempted murder, bro. That's what wrestling is truly all about. And if Baron Corbin could throw Rey Mysterio off a roof, then The Rock could throw Cody Rhodes off of a parking lot roof, I guess. Like, what is this parking structure that you leave through the, like, what appears to be floor level in the stadium, but then you're way high up when you get outside? That is wild. But I agree with you there because he was choking him, like, leaning over the edge, and it's like, you got to throw him off now, right? Like, you can't not throw him off from there. But just, I was saying, it's like everything The Rock does, he kind of just repeats the ever living shit out of himself the whole time. It's like you threw him into the truck like 8 times. He kept saying the same things over and over again, not only in his normal promos, which he didn't cut one tonight, but when he was beating him up, it's like, bro, you're saying the same shit, and then the shit you're not saying is being censored. But that being said, just The Rock getting physical at all, finally, this did bring it to another level. Just him getting physical with Cody like that. This was much needed, even if this could have been an all-time segment. This was just, it still was a very needed attack and beatdown. So, I'm glad it happened. I feel like they should have thought enough about the setting and realized that they don't tease the edge if you're not going to do anything with it. I'm with you there. I totally agree.
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying. I think, the more he repeats himself, the less, it loses substance. So that's kind of an issue, but I think this was good. I mean, of course you had Cody cut himself. He's busted open. So like that, I kind of rolled my eyes on, but like, it hit the story beats it needed to hit to progress the story and make you more excited about WrestleMania and ultimately come to, hopefully, I believe it will be, hopefully, a more satisfying conclusion.
Yeah, I hope so too. I really, really do. I do think blood is necessary for this bloodline feud, but we'll see. I'm excited for. I don't care about SmackDown, but I'm excited for Raw next week. I'm sure SmackDown will have its moments too, but interesting stuff. Where was Seth Rollins? Where was Jay? He could have gotten himself back there. It's not that big of a place. Everyone's high up. It would have been easy to get there, but it's wrestling. We let those things go unless it's something that's dwelled upon. Then we got to look into it. But if they're gonna pretend, we're just gonna let it go. We're not gonna get nitpicky about it because what's the point? Some stuff happens. We'll move on with the show, but Ricochet beat JD McDonough. Don't care. Don't want to talk about it. It's Ricochet. If there was ever an argument for the toxic part of the WWE fan base that likes to criticize AEW by talking about flips and how they're meaningless, Ricochet is the best. The best proof of it is in WWE, and it's Ricochet because there's almost nothing this guy could do at this point to make me care, and it's sad. So he's come a long way since being Prince Puma and having that infamous sequence with Ospreay. But yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy who's like, I don't care how much you flip anymore. It does mean nothing actually when Ricochet does it specifically. But
well, he just needs to have a really good match with somebody. I think that's what's missing. It's a shame he doesn't do the 540 anymore. And also, it's just interesting tonight. He was one of 2 guys that they seem like maybe it's probably for nothing, but it feels sort of like they're heating them up for Mania. But it's like, for what? Maybe winning the Memorial Battle Royal. And again, it's like, no one cares about that. So why should I care about you heating this guy up that nobody cares about anyway at all? Like, his time, I don't want to say it's over, but if something was going to happen with him, it would have happened already.
Yeah, and you can't say his time's over because it is. It's long over. I think they're just heating him up for post-Mania. I don't think he's going to do anything in Mania. I think that's a lot of guys. Just guys, the Raw, mid-card, and undercard who have been working their ass off for months are not getting spots in Mania, and then they'll get mini pushes after Mania, and then by May, they'll be gone. But not like gone, but just not on TV as much or not in stories. But, whatever. More important, though, we're going to talk about the second most important thing of the night, hold on, let me address this comment real quick. Starting to think they're doing the Seth turn, LOL. This is what they want you to think. They want you to buy into everything. But if you watch the Cody and Roman promo on SmackDown, they laid into that a little too thick. But, this random commenter, I'm going to assume, is a moron. So I think he'll see one thing on Twitter and then that'll be his worldview for a couple days. And he'll really push that narrative. And then, another thing will pop up and he'll believe that. But again, I don't know who this random commenter is, but I'm just making a bunch of wild assumptions here. But anyway, second most important thing of the night, which is crazy because they were in his hometown, was CM Punk in Chicago. He makes his entrance. The crowd goes wild. They love the guy. He can do some wrong, but it comes out massive ovation. I'm not going to show that comment, but it made me laugh. Comes out to a massive ovation, and he cuts a very interesting promo, a very CM Punk promo, but it fits CM Punk promo. Like the CM Punk is still good, but some of the magic's gone because it just feels dirty. It's like that. It's like, this is really good. It's just sometimes I still am just conflicted about him being there. And this is one of those times. He says, oh, it's good to be alive in Chicago. And everyone's asking if he's going to be at WrestleMania. And the short answer is yes, which it's even shorter than that because you told us last week or the week before you're going to be at WrestleMania. So, he said his elbow's not 100%, but it's pretty good. People are asking him what he's going to do. He's great in the ring and even on the mic and even on commentary. He's like, can he be an impartial referee? He's like, I don't know. Then he mentions Roman Reigns, who mentioned him on a podcast. And he mentions The Rock. And he mentions, in my opinion, maybe his second best promo ever, which is the promo against The Rock, where he said, your arm's just a little too short to box with God. Still one of the best lines in the past 15 years of wrestling. I don't care.
I agree, but it's also funny that he references that because he would go on to lose to The Rock. So I feel like referencing that, it's like, well, you kind of he proved you wrong.
That's wrestling, though. That's wrestling. How much shit does The Rock talk where dude lost like all the time? Dude lost a lot of his big matches. He acts like he's the final boss. He lost to Stone Cold twice. So it's that's just the wrestling nature of things. But he mentions all these things, and finally, he's interrupted by Drew McIntyre, the good guy in the story. Drew is fantastic here. He says, you're straight edge. You don't drink, you don't do drugs, but yeah, you're always in rehab. That was such a good line. I love that. Drew is perfect.
It was great. You know what? It reminded me of like some of Samoa Joe's savage lines back in the day.
Okay.
It had that venom.
It did. It really did. It was a very money line, and if this promo didn't go on for so long and have other more memorable lines, like that would have been it. That would have been enough for this segment, but they kept going. One of the things when Drew was walking down the ramp, Punk was like, are you a Scottish psychopath in a kilt, or are you a Twitter troll in a skirt? And Drew McIntyre very quickly quipped back, 2024, you're going to get canceled saying stuff like that. And it's funny because, it is like a, it's a weak. It was a weaker of Punk's insults thrown around. Like he can do better. Especially it's like, Roman's just making the same insults about Seth, and it's like, oh, that's like you're actually the weak link here, and that forced him. Roman's the weak link, and in a lot of those situations, surprisingly, when it should be Seth. But it was like one of those ones where it's like, oh, that was very quick aside, like throw aside line by Drew that, again, in the grand scheme of all the things said in this promo, is very, very small. But I just appreciated it because I thought Drew was so quick with that comeback.
I thought they had really good back and forth.
Oh yeah, they had a bunch of it. That was just one small detail like toning in on, but he's like, yeah, Punk, I don't hate you actually. You complete me. You're my muse. You're giving me the motivation, when I need to get that one last rep in the gym on a weight you can never imagine. Really focusing on the fact that he's fucking jacked as fuck and Punk is like more normal in shape. Punk's got muscles like a normal person, whereas Drew has muscles like a mentally unhealthy person. Which is just how I describe Brawlic people now. It's like, yeah, you're a little too fucked up in the head once you hit a certain point of Brawlic,
He looks like He-Man.
Yeah, he does. He does. Fuck you, man. Yeah, I don't want to look like that guy. That guy looks uncomfortable. In every sense of the word. Hello, I'm back. There we go. Punk in the gym, don't make me laugh. I mean, sometimes you need a good laugh. It's almost time to go to bed, you need to laugh it off. It's a good way to end the night. But Drew McIntyre at one point says that he wants Punk to have a front row seat at WrestleMania. He wants him to be on commentary because he wants Punk to be there to have a front row seat when he proves to everyone why he was always the chosen one. And then Punk just bluntly, amazingly, perfectly responded, who chose you? Who deemed you the chosen one? What paragon of good virtue chose you? Basically goading McIntyre into saying one of the forbidden names, one of the guys who's been blurred out of all the video games from his own company.
He's of course referencing the Voodoo Kin Mafia.
Yes, who is not in 2K24 because of everything going on and for no other reasons. And it was good. I really liked that. I mean, I'm not here to argue whether or not we should be mentioning the guy at all or alluding to him. I'm totally fine with a pretend he's dead approach and erasing him for history. That's fine. I don't care. We can do that. That's okay. But if we want to make some allusions to it, we want to admit that he's a bad guy, too, that's also fine with me. I'm not here to tell anyone what's the right way to approach this, because I don't know better. But he just straight up alluded to Vince McMahon, and of course Drew's not going to say anything about it. You can't do it. Before there's more to this, but what did you think about the allusion to Vince here?
I really liked it. It's definitely up CM Punk's alley. I agree with you that I'm happy to see him. I've always loved him, but at the same time, there's a part of me that's still bitter about how he handled things in AEW. And so when he comes out now, I also feel like it's just like him getting older, that some of the stuff he says doesn't really resonate with me. Like sometimes it's great, and then sometimes I'm just kind of like, that was a weird thing to say, but okay. I guess. But I think for the most part, it was great tonight. And that was definitely the best line. And it's like, coming from him, it feels natural. And that's definitely something both of him as a person and as his character would say something like that. He's been saying this kind of stuff for over 10 years. So I thought it was great. And it's also, it's the most interested I've been in Punk since he's come back was tonight. I thought we'll go into how this segment progressed and what it reminds me of. But it's so far it's like the most I've been interested in his return, believe it or not.
Wow. I mean, he's only cut promos and gotten injured in his first match, so it's understandable. I was into his promo segment with Cody. I thought it was really good. His first promo segment with Seth was really good, but this is also up there. It would have been cooler if he wasn't hurt, But then who knows where we would be going into this WrestleMania if Punk wasn't hurt? There's a lot to think about, but I get it. It's like I said, I think Punk's lost a little of the magic's gone, a little of it's ruined. Granted, the guy did nothing wrong, and the Elite are a bunch of children, and Jungle Boy should be fired. But it still had a negative effect on Punk, despite that. I don't think there's, even if you're genuinely a pro Punk person in this situation, it's not the same. Him showing up because he got fired from AEW is not as enticing of a comeback as of him just deciding on his own volition to return to WWE. So, some of that magic is gone regardless of how you feel. I still think Jack Perry should be, fired and just banned from wrestling altogether. Like, find a new career, bud. But at least the Bucks are finally doing something. Are very, I don't want to say lovely because I don't want to lie to everyone, but our producer boy brought up a good point that it would have been cooler if the Bucks were doing shit like what Drew's doing online on like BT, and I agreed to an extent. But Drew McIntyre didn't have to sign an NDA, so it's understandable why. But I'm just going on a bit of a tangent. I'll get back on track. I swear.
No, it's good. I mean, like I'll just say real quick. I wouldn't go as far with Jack Perry, but I definitely think Tony Khan needs to like learn how to fire people. If he's just going to indefinitely suspend Jack Perry, it's just fire him, and that's just the end of it. I think it's a clean break. He just does all these things like where he either suspends people or it's like, I'll let your contract run out. It's like, if you're not going to use them, just fire them. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's true. Especially when they actually have options. They can go to WWE, they can go to TNA, they can go to New Japan. So it's fine. But anyway, we'll get back to the. Well, Kevin, we're trying to play to our audience, and you don't watch Raw. You're watching a Raw review, so figured you would enjoy us talking about AEW for a minute or two. But
we're getting back on track. No big deal.
Yeah, we're getting back on track because there's only like 3 things we're going to talk about in the show. So, we've already gone through one of them. But Punk gets back into his promo. It's hard to think about anything else other than the allusions to Vince McMahon. But he basically says he watches or listens to Jim Cornette podcast, which is like, that's the most disappointing thing I think Punk has ever said or done. Way worse than anything he said at the media scrum. Not to bring it back to AEW, but oh man, that one's harder to swallow than anything else that's happened.
I'm not a Cornette guy at all, and I usually disagree with him, but I do enjoy listening to like snippets of his pod. I don't listen to the whole episodes though. Just YouTube highlights for me.
Yeah. I can't really say in fairly anything about Cornette. I try not to. Maybe I'll catch a couple things that when he says something that makes rounds. But that's about it. My sleeves are too long. Yeah, I didn't pay for the shirt, so it's fine. That's why I don't care. It's
just roll them up.
No, having long sleeves is fun. Like it's the emo thing to do. It's you want to have part of your sleeve covering like at least halfway of your palm. If this had a thumb hole, it would be perfect. If all shirts had thumb holes, life would just be better. The world would be a better place. But it's fine. Jack Perry lives rent free in Danny's head. Uh, you know, sure, sure. I'll just I don't know. I'll take that. Um, Jim Cornette is one of my favorites. Hashtag the Young Turks. Oof. Yeah, the Young Turks. We'll get back on track now, I guess. We've answered some comments. Oh my God. Actually, Kevin Abreu. Yeah, I kind of do. I'm very interested in a Rock Cody match more than a Cody Roman. Roman Reigns is the least interested part of this at this point. Like, I really want to see The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. I hope that's the SummerSlam match. I hope it's Rock versus Cody Rhodes. I hope they do a Seth versus Rock match so Rock could get a big win against someone, and then he loses to Cody, and then he could fight Roman or whatever. Who gives a fuck? But you got to make O'Shea Jackson happy, I guess. So you got that match next year.
I want to see. I know he's canceled, but I want to see Rock versus Bork Laser. That's what I want to see.
Really? Oh my God, I do not want to see that.
I'm sure it would be terrible. I will take the chance. I still want to see it.
Oof.
I will take the chance. Like, I think Batista versus Bork Laser would have been awful, but if that got on the table, I'd take it.
I mean, sure, because Lesnar's kind of done everything at this point. Like
Who?
Sorry, this guy that doesn't exist. The guy that we can't mention, but we can allude to Vince McMahon. Apparently,
I haven't said either of their names yet. You're the one who's been alluding to that.
Well, no, Punk alluded to him. I'm just straight up saying what he's not saying. But oh my God, Eric with probably my favorite comment. I'm gonna star that one. Everything would be funny if Rock vs. Roman just never happens. Dude, I would love that so much. That'd be fantastic. Oh my God.
I would feel bad for all the people that watched Young Rock. And by all the people, I mean like the 12 people who watched that show.
God, that's another thing. When I talked about like the downfall of The Rock right before you got here, I'm like, like we keep saying The Rock's like the biggest movie star in the world, but like he's really fallen out of favor in the past few years between Shazam and the Fast and Furious franchise, and just a lot of busts that he's had, and the world went back to realizing like, oh yeah, he actually doesn't make good movies, and he's just in everything. So he's kind of lost that favor. So he came back to WWE where he has and all the favor in the world, where he's like a god. But he came back to a rude awakening and say like, hey, you're not bulletproof here either. Like, you start doing stuff we don't like that's it. We're not gonna deal with your shit. So it's kind of funny that happened. He's finally, it's finally catching up to him. Never really making good movies is finally catching up to the guy. And I'm just especially driving that point home because James is not here to defend bad movies. But Kevin, have you guys talked about Dan Schneider yet? No, we're gonna do that on the AEW podcast.
No, we're gonna do that on the what's the bizarro name that I came up with for the podcast? The something instead of Mark It Down, it was like Punch It Up, the Punch It Up podcast. We'll do it on that.
Yeah, we'll do it on the Punch It Up podcast.
I wanted to say I agree with a lot of things you said about The Rock. I feel like especially his movies are very hit or miss, and I feel like that's being generous. And even though he's definitely a presence, and you can say he's like the most popular person on the planet, I think that's fair. He's still, at the end of the day, he's still human. So, there's going to be people who like him and people who don't like him. And I think at the end of the day, what he really needs to do is he needs to deliver in these matches. Because if he doesn't deliver, then people are going to lose interest. And there's nothing you can say to make me like not believe that. Like, I feel like that's why I shouldn't even go down that road about a discussion about, I'll just say real quick, I don't want to get in a whole discussion, but that's why I think we never got a John Cena versus Rock number 3, because they weren't great matches and like there wasn't a lot of interest.
I mean, there should have never been a number 2.
Agreed.
Thank God Jim's not here to try to defend bad opinions, but that's what he's doing. He was here.
Yeah, love you,
God.
James.
speaking of James, you guys look super dapper. First of all, my sleeves are too long.
My sleeves aren't long enough.
Apparently, look at that. Flex on. Be on the lookout for our video on Rock's movies, best to worst, or worst to worst. I'm telling you, Rock has like 3 good action roles. It's like The Rundown, Walking Tall, and the World's Most Evil Invention skit from his SNL hosting appearance in like I want to say 2013, maybe 2014. Other than that, I mean, he's not good. He just plays big, strong guy. But he's funny, so he's good in comedies. There we go. That's where Rock's good at, comedies.
I'd say The Rundown, and I didn't even see it, but like I heard Jumanji's good, so I would say those two. I wouldn't even say Walking Tall. I think it's like average at best.
Well, that's a lot better than most of his movies, then I would say. But
so did we get to the part where Cody shows up in this promo, or did we get that sidetracked?
In the Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Cody shows up. Even when Seth Rollins shows up.
No, Seth shows up.
Yeah, you said Cody though.
No, I didn't.
You did.
I said,
Did we get to the part where Cody shows up? And I was like, what? And the Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre?
If only we had the producer to rewind this. We could see what happened.
Yeah. Scorpion King is number 1. There's
It's
always
not
a troll in the
bad.
comments. There's always. It's not good.
It's very average.
But again, that's like the Rock's mentality of like, oh, like I'm going to be part of this cool movie franchise. Let me get rid of the part of the Mummy everyone liked, which was like Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, and and just focus in on this one character that was good in The Mummy Returns, but didn't need its own movie, And that's the Rock misses the point a lot. He kind of.
Still, he was new and young to Hollywood back then, so it was kind of like an average outing. It was his first solo thing. I thought it was serviceable, and what I liked about it is he didn't have the ego he has now. Like back then, he could take a punch, or he could be up against someone that was bigger than him. Now it's like I have to be the biggest person on set, and I can't lose a fight. And for every punch I take, I have to throw a punch. It's very controlled now, and I think he was more open to things back then. So I think Scorpion King is fine. It's fine.
Yeah, he's producer boy calling you out. You did say Cody.
All right, fine.
Caught in 4K. That's gonna go straight onto the Botch It Down podcast.
The punch it down. Punch it up.
No, Punch It Up is a more positive podcast. The Botch It Down is just when we fuck up, and that's just gonna be a compilation of
punch up. Like I'm down in the gutter and I'm bitter, so I'm punching up at you.
But we'd be punching down at you because you're the one who messed up, and we're kind of kicking you while you're down, though.
Well, you can punch it down from the Mark It Down podcast. I'll punch it up from the Punch It Up podcast.
Punch it up.
The Bizarro podcast that I start for spite. And that's my Seinfeld reference of the night.
Got it. Eric's movie opinions on the podcast. Eric, despite working on them, hates movies too. He only likes basic bro movies. He loves The Dark Knight. He loves Fight Club. He likes anything that's like just catered heavily to males from a certain time period. He doesn't want anything too thought provoking, but he doesn't want complete mindless action. He's like right in the middle. He has no class. My dude didn't even like The Greasy Strangler. So why do you want to know his movie opinions?
I didn't see it. I'll be right back.
He's gonna go watch The Greasy Strangler real quick. He hated Barbie 100%. Like 100%, he hated Barbie. But I guess I'll just finish the show on Mask On because we're staying on track. Seth Rollins comes out. We'll get back on track, I swear. He says, "Oh, how are you going to talk about the championship without the champion in?" And he basically tells Punk to be, well, oh man, this podcast has gone off the rails. Anyway, so Punk's going to be the special guest commentator for the World Heavyweight title match, and he's gonna be there. It's fine. I don't love this segment except for the madness of it, you know. But yeah, it is what it is. Excuse me. Is this guy gonna come back? I feel like I want to just sit in silence until he gets back, and then act like we've moved on in the show when we really haven't. But anyway, there's no point in coming back to this. We've gone too far off the rails. So I'm just gonna move on. Candice LeRae beat Ivy Nile via roll up. Don't care. I mean, I'm glad Candice has a character now and is doing something, but this feels like something that's built into post-Mania stuff, which is good. You need, I know it seems like counterintuitive to have stuff that isn't going to feature on Mania and the Mania build up, but you need, I don't want to say filler, but it is filler. You need some filler stuff that's going to expand more after Mania. And this is one of those things. Candice is going to be in like a featured match at Mania. Maybe there's going to be a women's tag match that her and Indy will be in, but it's at least something for her to do for now. And then post Mania, when all the part timers have gone away, or in this case, just like the two part timers, I guess, and Rock and Roman have gone away, it'll go back to normal, and then we'll see more of this. But that was that. I've talked about it more than needed. We had a tag match. God, James, that would have been funny. You got to be quicker than that. You gotta be fast than that. You got to be more on point. We got to think of something funny like that. You got to commit. You got to execute, James. Come on. Tag match, DIY versus New Day. Fun match. Not super invested in it. It's 2024. It's the New Day. They've been spinning the wheels for a couple of years now. DIY is on a bit of a streak right now, but this match obviously ended in a brawl, because of course it was gonna end in a brawl, because the Judgment Day came out and beat up both teams, and then Miz got involved. Bar Truth was like, "Well, we're on commentary tonight. We can't get involved," and it was kind of funny, but then he repeated the shit out of it, and it became a little less funny. And then Judgment Day just beat him up too. And that was that. They stood tall. They got some heat for their match. Fine. Cool. All good. Nothing noteworthy. Nothing to really dig into. Gunther's getting interviewed. He says, "Well, I already said I don't think Sammy can beat me, and I don't think Sammy is going to beat Bronson Reed tonight." Cool. Fine. We'll get into that a little bit maybe. Andrade El Idolo faced Giovanni Vinci. Matt's having all sorts of technical difficulties, it feels like, but Andrade had a match. No one cares. You okay, bud?
Yeah, I'm good. I watched that match because I like Ludwig Kaiser, or no, Giovanni Vinci. Sorry, I still like to call him by his old name, Fabian Eichner. I think he's good. Former Evolve World Champion, and somebody should fact check this. I can't because I'm using my phone as my video. He might be tenured longer with WWE than Andrade, considering if you count Andrade's leave of absence.
Ooh, maybe.
Yeah, the Cruiserweight Classic. That's when he started.
That's interesting. I didn't realize my guy really falls under the radar, being a default creative wrestler template. But
I agree, but I like him. He's Italian, so that works for me. And you know what? He's very, very talented. He just needs to have more of a character. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's 2024. The level of skill that these guys have in the ring has never been higher. So it's not enough to be very skillful and athletic in pro wrestling. You need to have a character, and he needs to have a character.
that is true. I think first of all, I appreciate these Italian too, being half Italian myself. And I really
Same.
wish that, the one thing I wish about all Italian, I wish they were more proud of being Italians. Italians never bring it up. They never talk about how much they love being Italian. I wish I wish they would do that more. But he's really missed his calling by not making his character be vacant. Vacant's held every title at one point or another. More world title reigns than anyone in history. More title reigns than anyone in history. If there was ever anyone to take that gimmick and run with it, it is the most vacant looking guy I've ever seen in my life. And that is him. And I like him too, but he's no Ludwig Kaiser, she was just the best.
And he has a much more dynamic look. And I think that vacant idea is great. I don't think they'd ever run with it, but if he got like fired from WWE tomorrow, I think that'd be something after he does his initial indie run, that would be really funny and like I think worth checking out, especially if there was a company that had a vacancy for their title. Like you just be like, I'll take that. That's me. Like that'd be great.
Honestly,
I'm Italian.
I could see them doing it in NXT, honestly.
It would work. Or you could be with the Don, Tony D'Angelo, who I have mixed feelings about.
Wow. Did someone mention Italians? Nope. We're not going to get anyone started on Italians. But anyway, I'm really glad that we spent this Andrade debut match talking about the jobber that he beat. That feels about right. So we'll move on.
I'll just say I like Andrade's new finisher better than his old finisher. Still not great, but I like it more. His new music sucks. Totally ready to move on, unless you got something else to say.
There is nothing that Andrade could do. Kevin said that Jungle Boy lives rent free in my head earlier. I root for Jungle Boy over Andrade. I think that's how disinterested I am in Andrade. At least Jungle Boy makes me feel something.
One last thing for me. It's so interesting how Naomi and Andrade are on such different levels since their return to the Rumble, but they're also just both in shitty positions and no one gives a shit about them. And it's sad.
Yeah. Well, Andrade made a lateral move where he was nothing in AEW. Now he's nothing in WWE, whereas Naomi was a big shot in TNA, and now she's back to where she was always going to be. And I'm sorry to anyone who thought otherwise, but I told everyone it was always going to be the case. Naomi's not the focal point, so she's just going back into a role where she's there, she's featured, but she's there to put over other people, and that's fine.
I still have hope for her, and we'll get into it for WrestleMania predictions. James asks, what's his new finisher? It's like an elevated swinging overdriver. I don't know. It's got a little bit of it's a little bit of a spin. It's decent. It's better than the DDT he was using. And he calls it, what the hell does he call it? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was gonna know the answer to that. I fast forwarded through that shit so fast. She and Bianca are gonna win the tag titles. Yeah, sure. Why not? This is whatever keeps Bianca undefeated for one more year. Sure. I'd rather Bianca and Jade win it, honestly. But
agreed. But I think Naomi is a good. But at the same time, the last time she was here, she won the tag titles with Sasha. It just feels like another. Let's put two random people together. And then it's like, why did we put these two people together? Is it because they're both black? I mean, is never a good look.
Well, at least Sasha and Naomi were in a faction together, so they at least have that history that way. But Bianca and Naomi is just I guess, that it feels more like that with Bianca and Naomi. But we'll see. Because I'm not invested. Like I said, I want Bianca to remain undefeated one more year, but
agreed.
So that she can have a real streak going into next year. But whatever. Rhea Ripley comes out with Dom. She's like, "Hey, I feel like someone's not paying me enough attention. She's too busy fighting other people and." Having matches with Nia Jax and Liv Morgan. She's not focusing on our WrestleMania match. I'm just talking about Rebecca Lynch. who Matt is going to meet tomorrow, and be like, "Hey, my podcast mate Danny, he's like your biggest fan, even though I'm here and you're not." You know, so I wanted to say hi on his behalf, and that's pretty cool of you to do that. But she gives the mic to Dom so that Dom could say something. All Dom says is Becky, and then Becky's music hits, which I thought was a little funny bit of staging. You pass it, and it makes sense. You pass it to Dom because you know he's going to get heat, so that you get a little more cheer for the entrance. Makes sense. So Becky comes out, and she's like, "Oh, like, you said that you didn't attack me out of respect, but really, you didn't attack me because once you do, there's no turning back, and then this is where there's gonna be an all-out brawl." She's like, and I came out immediately, and I'm talking to you now, and I didn't wait for you to have a 20-minute match to confront you, which I can't even do because you don't wrestle on Raw anymore. Like, when do you ever wrestle? And Rhea's like, well, I don't need to wrestle. I'm the fucking shit. I can just post a thirst trap on Twitter, and then everyone cares and talks about me. So it's like, why should I wrestle? It's like, yeah, fair point. Like, Becky's like, you can he's like, you can bury your ass on Twitter for everyone to see to get attention, and that's fine. He's like, I'll bust my ass to earn respect and attention. It was a decent back and forth, and she's like, Becky's like, there's always going to be someone newer, younger, hotter, but the game is about longevity and creativity and doing whatever it takes to survive. It's about survival. Rhea's like, yeah, you are a survivor. You're almost like a cockroach. You're hard to kill, not impossible, hard to kill. And I'm not going to kill you because I want you to be alive. I want you to be home, unable to wrestle, but alive and at home with your daughter, who then can call me mommy. And then got the whole, ooh, we were talking about the kids kind of, reaction. And then Becky pulled a Cody, started to get a little crack in her voice, and was like, I wish I could do better accents. I wish Rev was here to do his Irish accent. But, it's like, she was like, how dare you, don't bring my kid into this, because she's like, my dad's dead. Ooh, don't tell Christian that. But my dad's dead, and he didn't get to meet my daughter. And even though he got to be there for all the accomplishments I've had, the thing he'd be the most proud of me is the type of mother I've become. So when you say that as a joke, that means everything to me. The same way you treat that title as a joke, it means everything to me. Very good money line there. This promo, I actually think I did it more justice than they did, because they lost the crowd a little bit during this because the crowd are fucking exhausted at this point. But then, Rhea gets in her face. They're going face to face. They drop the mics. It's tense. Dom gets in between them. Becky's like, talk some shit to Dom. Like, oh, like he's the one telling you what to do now. I thought you were always on top. So then Dom turns around, and then Becky just decks him in the face. And they show the replay of this. Like, she really punched this dude. Like, that shit connected with him. She drops Dom with the right hand, and then her and Rhea brawl. Rhea stands tall at first, and then she goes to carry Dom out, and Becky jumps off the stairs onto them. They brawl some more. They get separated by refs. Becky runs through the refs, lays out Dom one more time. They brawl some more, and then more refs come out and separate them. Not the hottest brawl, but it was good, and it got this feud where it needed to go, and this is why Dom's here. Dom was just here to get beat up by Becky Lynch for a couple of weeks, and then during the match too, I assume. And after seeing Grayson Waller sell the manhandle slam better than anyone ever has, it makes me want to see Dom take one too and see what he can do with that sell. But I thought this was a good. It's hard to place this in the feud because it's not a follow up, but it's also not the start of the feud. The feud has been going at a steady pace, and this felt like it pushed it just a little bit further as we're almost at Mania. So, I thought it was a good segment. What did you think about it?
I thought it was really good. Like it wasn't outstanding, it wasn't transcendent, but it definitely was satisfying and got the story moving along. At the pace it needs to be at. Fun with Dom. It was interesting to me. It looked like maybe the timing was off. Like with when he was getting hit, like maybe he turned back when he wasn't supposed to. But regardless, she did connect right on like the lowest part of his chin, but it was great, and he sold
Yeah.
it like death. She hit. I thought she was gonna do like a suicide dive. Instead, Becky doesn't really do those, so instead she like ran around and dove off of the stairs onto the back of them. And like you said, his brawls, it wasn't the best brawl, but it was good. I like a good brawl. Uh, for me, brawls are either up or they're down, and this one was up. And the fun, unique thing about this brawl was the fact that when they got separated, like you said, before she went back and started, they started hitting each other. She went for Dom. Dom got in the way again, which was a fun thing that typically doesn't happen in these kinds of situations. And I'm hoping Dom gets a match against Rey Mysterio. Like I didn't really watch SmackDown, but I heard he helped Santos beat Rey, so I'm not sure where that storyline's going. I'm still hoping for Rey Dom 2 at Mania. Dom can totally get they can do it on separate nights, and Dom can get manhandle slammed by Becky. And I gotta say, going into this, I totally thought Rhea was gonna win. For me, we still have a little bit more time. I'm really like on the fence of who I think is gonna win. I still think it's Rhea, but then it's just like, would she just hold on to the title for another year till a Money in the Bank? Like, I don't see where it ends. We'll see. What do you think?
I'm right there with you. I'm like 60-40 that it's going to be Rhea. Granted, like I'm a mark for Becky. Like, big time pun not intended, but I'm glad we got there. But Rhea's on top of the world right now. I think she's probably going to win, but there's no harm in having Becky beat her, and that's like the only time I'll push back on people who are like Rhea has to win. It's like, no, she doesn't have to do fucking shit. Or like she's done it all now. Like, you know what would be better for her? Losing the title for a bit. Then she could chase it again. Because yes, quality over quantity, but quantity can help cause quality. If the quality of the reign isn't that good, move on to the next one. Take it off Rhea and let her go full-blown babyface, and then have her chase again. That's a whole new perspective. You might as well go in that direction and see what it's like. Because do you want Rhea to get cashed in on? That feels like a lame way to end this. Do you want someone not worthy of dethroning her? Do you want Liv dethroning her? No, I want Chelsea Green to win Money in the Bank. I don't want Chelsea Green to cash in on Rhea. Chelsea Green could cash in on Becky. Whoever wins Money in the Bank can cash in on Becky, and that's fine. Because Becky can hold this out for like 2-3 months, and that's okay. And then you build someone up. Because I don't think there's a world in which they build up a credible challenger for Rhea from the ground up. What they could do is build up a credible champion for Rhea to dethrone. Because at the end of the day, I still, in my mind, think we're going to have Rhea versus Bianca next year at Mania, and Rhea's going to be the first person to beat Bianca at Mania. That's where my mind is going with that. And I'd rather Rhea dethrone Bianca than defend against Bianca. So, that she's got to lose it at some point. You might as well. No, not Liv, James. Grow up, please. Don't be a simp. Same night, cash in? What?
At Money in the Bank. But we do that too often.
Especially with the women.
Yeah.
Only with the women now at this point. It's bad. Same night cash-ins are ruined. They need to hold off on them for a few years. Not just last year, because last year, I don't give a fuck. They cashed in at SummerSlam, which is like the baby version of cashing in same nights. Just wait. But no same night cash-ins, especially with Chelsea Green. You're gonna have Chelsea Green win that? No, you get the fucking comedy gold out of it, bro. It's
Yeah, I want
amazing.
some segments with her. Granted, I think Tiffany Stratton's going to win the contract, which is weird
No,
because I
no,
don't
she
think she
doesn't need
needs
it.
it. She
Yeah.
feels like someone they can build up to be that credible challenger. She's unfortunately on SmackDown, Rhea's on Raw, but I definitely agree with you. I think next year it's going to be Rhea versus Bianca. And personally, I wouldn't want to see Rhea hold the title for a whole nother year. To be honest, this year of her holding the title, there have been ups and downs for sure. Like I think right now we're definitely on the up part of it, but there have definitely been some low points to her to her, reign. I mean, she was injured. I get it, it happens, but it's still a low point.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
don't want it a whole nother year.
I agree with you. I really don't want another year. And like, yeah, you could end it at some other time, but like, why not? Why not at Mania? Like I'm not even pushing this as like a stand for Becky. It's just more of like I do think it might be better for Rhea in the long run because you you have this person that's white hot and like to put it to the next level, you got to give her something to go after. You got to take a little bit away from her so she has something to strive for, and all the ups of her title reign have been just her being the star and not necessarily who she's facing or whatever. Like, because it's like the like the Zelina Vega match in Puerto Rico was great because of the environment. Her squashing Natalia was personal highlight for me. But then it's like, okay, she fought Raquel and those were nice, but like it doesn't hold a candle to their NXT matches, and Raquel's not the same Raquel as in NXT, so it didn't hold a candle in that regard either. Like, dude, she fought Zoe Stark at Survivor Series. Like, and I like Zoe. I'm a Zoe fan. I think Zoe has a lot of future potential, but like it's just there's nowhere to go for this title reign, and it's like, do you want it to just be there, or do you want to set Rhea on a new path where she can do a lot? And we talked about this before on the pod, but you could do a double turn in this match. Like the crowd's gonna be pro Rhea. Like they're not gonna really. I don't think they're gonna boo Becky per se, but they're very pro Rhea crowd because she's the hot thing right now. But
I think it'll be 50-50, like probably the crowd.
I think it'll be 65-35, but I think Becky's a lot more cooled off than she was a couple years ago, and I do put a lot of that on Triple H. But it's an interesting dynamic, and it's kind of more interesting than I hate to say this, but the Bayley Io match, because I just think I'm only invested because I love Bayley, and that's it for that. And I like Dakota Kai, I guess, but
Love Dakota Kai, and I'll save my thoughts on the Bayley Io for when we do WrestleMania predictions.
I will elaborate more on that too, because I do, like I said, I love Bayley and I'm glad she's getting her moment, but I have some things. Hello, hi. I'm not really an Adele fan, but it's cool that you like that song, Eric. James said the belt has had low points, but she's been a constant high. Exactly, but she's been a constant high, not the belt. What she's doing doesn't matter. Oh fuck, we have.
It's like you said.
Yeah, true. But it was good. I'm excited for this match. I hope it opens one of the nights. I would like it to be the opener. If it's not going to main event, not that it has a chance of main event. What I'm saying, like I think it'd be a good opener for one of the nights. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll talk a little bit more, but Bronson Reed beat Sami Zayn 2 weeks ahead of Mania, and then
Wild.
Sami went to Gable backstage and was like, "Bro, like, give me the sauce. What's going on? Why am I a loser?" And Gable was like, "Well, you came to the right place because I'm Chad Gable and I win all the time." And oh boy, this is interesting. decent. It's almost good.
right?
It's still not better than just having Chad
Agreed.
in the match, but they're at least doing something with it. And I'm glad they're trying. And I am trying to be fair. I am trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I am trying not to be a mark about it. But I'm still hard fast in my stance that this should be Gable in the match. Sammy should be doing something else. I'm not against beating your contender, but it is a bad look. I think and they did a good job. There's a story to it, and that's why he lost. But like, to me, Bronson Reed is a jobber, despite a guy who's on TV all the time and pushed decently and wins a good amount of matches. He is a mid-card guy that's there to feed the guys above him on the card, which is a perfectly respectable role. So like, I don't love seeing him particularly beat Sami Zayn, but I understand. One of those things where like, does it take away? If he beats Gunther, do you not think a little bit less that Gunther lost to a guy that, lost to a mid-card guy?
Exactly.
It muddies the waters a bit. And again, as interesting as this is potentially becoming, it just should have been Gable. It should have been Gable. Producer boy putting something that has nothing. Actually, I'll adjust this real quick. Seth's emotion changed when he turned around. I think Seth betraying Cody is possible. Yes, they want you to think that. You're not national treasure in this shit by figuring out these small little clues. They are putting them there for you. They want you to believe both possibilities. They want you to believe Rock's going to turn on Roman. They want you to believe Seth is going to turn on Cody. They are hammering these points home. They are not subtle. You are not fucking detectives figuring this shit out. It is out there in the open. And the worst part is the people getting the most interactions with this shit are like fan accounts, engagement farming, which our own Twitter, because of our producer boy, and other people who might also log into our Twitter, I assume James, interact with these fucking shitty fan accounts that just flood timelines and have like the worst takes. God, yes, Seth might turn on Cody. Rock might turn on Roman. Holy shit, what a revelation we've had here. I'm so sorry I've flown off the handle. It's this tie is, it's coming loose.
It's okay. Let's take off the ties. Mine's a clip-on.
Amazing. Respect.
Yeah, it's the only one I have here. But I would say we're gonna at least get a tease of at least one of those during those betrayals during the tag match. This whole thing with Sammy and Gable is interesting. Like, again, I was so upset about Gable losing. I said it before. I don't necessarily think it anymore, but at the time, I'm like, this is the biggest fucking loser of all time. It seems the thing I'm getting the vibe of is that we heard from multiple sources that they kind of want to do a Rocky kind of thing with Cody. And I don't think it really works because Cody's practically undefeated. This is just a rematch. He's going to overcome the odds, but I don't really see it as like a Rocky scenario because we know he can beat Roman. Like, he had him beat last year. It was the interference that stopped him. I think Sammy is the Rocky here. And I think they're going to play it up as him being the Rocky and Chad is going to be Paulie. And they're going to do a whole training montage next week. And that's going to be the thing. And whether he can beat Gunther or not, I don't know. That's another one that I'm kind of like 60-40 Sammy. I don't want to see Chad betray him. I think that would be dumb and predictable. I'd much rather see Sammy lose, Gunther do an open challenge the next night. Chad comes in, answers the open challenge, and beats him. That would be, I think, something that's salvageable for Chad. It's like you said, would you rather have Chad against Gunther at WrestleMania? Yes. Most of us on the pod here think that is the match to go with. We're not getting that. I think the next best thing is what I just described. Chad wins the next night open challenge. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll be fucking pissed if they do it. I'm paying for 2 nights of WrestleMania and they do it the night after.
That happened to me at WrestleMania 29. I had to go back to college. I missed Dolph cashing in. I was like, fuck.
Oof. That's rough. And that was a bad Mania too, so
Yes, it
that's
was.
double rough. Oh God.
That was the most cookie cutter Mania I've ever seen. Like just boring, predictable, start to finish. Nothing
I work.
inspiring.
I worked with Paulie in one of my movies. No big deal. My friend Paulie, that's cool. He can't act though, but that's cool.
Is Paulie still
Um,
alive? The actor?
My friend, yeah, I don't know about the actor. I never seen the Rock like CM Punk. I've never seen the Rocky movies, but
One
you
and
know,
done, as they say.
so I'm not gonna. I can't comment on any of that. But yeah, I'm willing. I'm a little more forgiving this week. I still think it's the wrong move for everyone, but oof. Yeah, see, Produce Boy's a little late, but yeah, we were talking about that. That she
I guess
fucking
he kind of
dicked.
leaned into it a little bit too much.
Well, because he was looking away, and he shouldn't have looked away at that point. But I'm glad they fucking replayed the shit out of it because it's dumb. So they were like, "Oh, this is great. This is fantastic. Look at how he got fucking punched."
Two
Uh,
things about that. One, I think Becky's got to stop wearing that hat. I don't like the hat, Becky. Nothing
You're
against
literally
you.
wearing a hat.
She wears the same hat all the time now. It's annoying. I don't like it. And then two, I don't like these new replays they've been doing the past few weeks where it's
Oh,
like,
the
oh,
Pat
let's just
McAfee
draw.
thing.
Oh, I hate it.
Oh yeah, that's fair. It's like you either love it or hate it with Pat, and that's fair. It's
You know what it
you know,
reminds me of? Taz would, when he was doing Team Taz, he would like talk about Ricky Starks, and he would be like, see the elevation of like the Rochambeau, but like the things they use, like the graphs, they weren't like just scribbles, they were nicely done. This feels like Bush League, and
well,
WWE should not feel Bush League. It almost never does, but it does in this instance, in my opinion.
I get what you mean because I love when Taz did those, but I think it's just the football parody aspect of it. That's all it is, and it's not for everyone. It's not really for me either, honestly. But it's cool. Um, Producer Boy showing a highlight from the JD Ricochet match, which, by the way, if that move happened in AEW, it would be shown on Twitter with all the people saying, "No, look, this isn't wrestling," kind of shit. But what I don't care about it because it's a Ricochet and JD McDonough match. That's the real opinion you should have. Is that who cares? It's two guys that you don't care about. But it is what it is. Dude, okay, sure. Produce Boy's all over the place. He feels like he has to catch up with all the stuff he missed. But
That's fine.
yeah, whatever. No, it's not fine. You just show up on time or don't show up at all, Producer Boy. What are you doing?
I didn't show up on time.
I know. That's part of the thing. We're gonna ignore that fact, and then if he brought it up, we'd be like, "What are you talking about?" We would gaslight him into thinking that you did show up on time.
We could still do that. Eric, I've been here the whole time.
Yeah, and why were you late, Eric? What the hell? Do you not take? I feel like you don't take this seriously. I sometimes I feel like we're taking it the most seriously, especially because we're wearing ties. I've never seen you wear a tie, dude. I've never seen James wear a tie. I've never seen Rev wear anything but sports apparel. I don't know.
I'm still not in the intro. What up with that?
Yeah, what is up with that, bro? This guy sent multiple drafts to someone to make it, and then couldn't even fit you in. Ridiculous. Who cares what Sean Rossap has to say? If it's not a report, let's not engage with any wrestling journalists. We're unbiased here. We make up our own news. That's as it should be done.
It's still crazy we're getting Rock in Brooklyn next week. Like, I feel like I have to be in Brooklyn just to see what happens, even if I don't go to the show.
Oh God. It's too
We'll
much.
see.
It's
We'll
too
see.
much. I can't go to Raw and go to Mania. It's so much. It's so much. I'm sure it's gonna be fun though. Maybe if tickets somehow aren't crazy expensive the night of, I'll consider it. But I doubt it. I really doubt it. But we'll see. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. That was Raw. But quick, on a scale of 10 to 17, what would you give the show?
11. It's my lucky number. What I watched was good. I didn't watch everything. I enjoyed it. I think things progressed the way they needed to progress, and good for them. They had another sold out show, and they even made more seats tonight. So solid. Keep on keeping on.
You gave it an 11 on a scale of 10 to 17, though, so that's pretty low. So I guess this show sucked. But, you know,
The numbers don't matter.
uh,
Or the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at WrestleMania.
you seemed really genuine about that. You really put your heart into that one.
I realized I've been kind of loud, and like my roommate is like in the next room, so I didn't want to get really into it and possibly wake her up. So
that's fair. I've realized I've also been really loud and inconsiderate. So that's understandable. But guys, thank you so much for watching. We have social media. Some of you guys are watching it on social media, but like follow us on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter. I guess it's the worst place in the world, but you know, follow us there. And just check out all our stuff. We got videos coming out later this week. We got WrestleMania predictions coming next week. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan. Let's enjoy it. Let's talk about it. So everyone, don't drink and drive. Be nice to animals. Before I completely send it off, do you have any final words, Matt?
yes, please. So I will be at the Becky Lynch signing tomorrow. I will be dressed up as Becky Lynch. That's the one in Manhattan at Barnes & Noble. It's sold out. If you don't have tickets, I'm sorry, but if you do, love to say hi. Also, James on our show is looking for a ticket to go. So if you know anyone who isn't able to go, definitely DM us, or you can DM me on Instagram at Matthew Cascone. Or if you have an extra book, like I know people sometimes they buy extra books and like they're only, you know what I mean? Just if you could help us out, if you can help us out, great. Help out James. That's all from me. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you, James, ahead of time for that autograph you're going to get me tomorrow. And the fact that you're going to pay extra for it is just so nice of you, James. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, pal. But like I said, guys, just follow us along for this crazy road to WrestleMania. And everyone, have a good night. And please, kindly, please, get the hell out of my stream. Hit the outro, producer boy.